Now I get to talk about defense. And in the interest of full disclosure, I wasn't a very good football player, but when I played, I played defense. And with everything that's happened in both college and pro football the last several decades, almost everything that's happened has been to handcuff defenses and help offenses. And I get it. That's what fans like to see. But I'm thrilled when I see defense played at a high level. And I have to start with Arkansas's Trey Williams, who I thought was the MVP of that game. I think that if he is not on that field playing the way he's playing, they may not win that game. Four tackles, two sacks, three hurries. I don't know. Usually, I think sometimes statistics are inflated. I think it's maybe deflated. I think he probably had seemed like almost double digit pressures or hurries, but either way, he was just danger, right? He was just dangerous. I loved his game. I loved what he did. Also, looking at SIU, right? Southern Illinois University, Quay Brown. He had 11 tackles, one tackle for loss, and was just all over the field. I have to talk about the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State University, Keontae Daniels, who is one of those quote unquote overhang defenders. He's a hybrid safety, almost plays like a linebacker sometimes. He had 9 solo tackles, 4 assists. He had 2 pass breakups, and once again, was just everywhere. I mistakenly mentioned Cam Lockridge with the receivers before. I guess the Hawaii thing made me think receiver, but no, Cam Lockridge's not a receiver. You're not a receiver at all. You're a terrific defensive player. Once again, one of those guys who's sort of a linebacker slash whatever. Um, the whatever. Someday I'll talk about how football's changing. But he had a great game. Seven tackles, a pick, forced fumble, including a scoop and score. Terrific player, terrific game. ULM, that's Louisiana Monroe's Jaquez Williams had a great game, including a pick six, 3 solo tackles, and an assist, and just a menace in the passing game. You might want to avoid him. San Diego, not San Diego State, sorry, South Dakota State University, right? They just had a great game across the board, but I have to talk about Mr. Beck, right? So Nolan Beck, you had a great game. 10 tackles and an interception, and it seemed like you may have made more than 10 tackles, just everywhere. McKinley Newbill, Savannah State, once again, one of my HBCUs. 3 tackles that were solo tackles, also an assist, 2 sacks, and he registered a safety. He, once again, at times seemed almost to be taking the game over. Staying with Savannah State, right? Marvin Grumshy had a great game. 7 solo tackles. Also had a tackle for loss and an interception. 7 solo and then I guess 3 assists to go in there as well. Shannon Reed of Illinois State, right? Redbirds, just down the road a piece from me. 9 solo tackles, 6 assists, also a pass breakup and an interception. Terrific game. McNeese State, right? McNeese State is a terrific program. A lot of people are not paying attention to Katie Orgeron, who of course is Ed Orgeron's son, who's the quarterback there, but I think they have more talent on defense than offense. And I would recommend you check out Jerome Harris, who had 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups, and forced a fumble. The Richmond Spiders, right? Tyler Dressel. He's a linebacker who's not incredibly physically talented, but really instinctive. 12 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and also had a sack. I just think if he tests well, I could see him being a guy that's drafted late 3, probably more likely a priority undrafted free agent. Gardner-Webb University, right? Linebacker William McRainey. 17 tackles, that's right, 17. 12 of them solo, 5 assists, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass breakup, 1 forced fumble. Terrific. Darius Joyner, Western Illinois, the Leathernecks. 14 solo tackles, 9 assists. That's the definition of being everywhere. Hardly a play he didn't have a hand in. Keon Ellis, right? 9 total tackles, 3 sacks, 2 quarterback hurries. Sorry, Kevin Harris. And 2 quarterback hurries. Beastly. Keep rolling, right? A lot of guys actually showed up for me this week on defense. Harold Walker, right? Had 8 tackles. 7 of them were solo. I have to talk about Louisville's Yasir Abdullah had a great game. 6 solo tackles, 2 assists, 2 sacks, 1 pass defended. Van Filliger of Utah, 3 sacks. That's awesome. Yaya Diabla had 2 solos, 4 assists and a sack. Derek Parrish had a great game. Linebacker from Houston, 12 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Monstrous. Corners, right? Got to give the cornerback some love. Marcus Jones, as in the return game, right? Had 150 yards in returns, 2 touchdowns, and a 73-yard punt return. And then also played corner really well. And then Jaquan McMillan of Eastern Carolina had 10 tackles and a pick six. Terrific. J.J. Russell of Memphis had a great game. 18 tackles, 11 of them solo tackles. Terrific. LSU, right? Damone Clark, 15 tackles and a fumble recovery. And I think he might have started the year as a reserve because I just didn't notice him early, one or the other, but he should continue to play more. Syracuse, right? Cody Roscoe had 2 sacks, forced a fumble, and 6 total tackles. Clemson has struggled this year, but their defense has actually played well. Braylon Spector, 19 tackles. 19 tackles. I mean, like, exclamation point was everywhere. And I hope that if this team continues to pull together, you'll get to see just how good that defense is. Georgia Tech, speaking of teams that have really started to improve and impress me, Charlie Thomas had 8 tackles at linebacker, almost 4.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. Monster game. Also, Brendan Sebastian, right? Cornerbacks, right? Boston College, 7 tackles. Also an assist in there and great coverage. I don't know how you grade, a guy not being open, but his guy didn't get open very often. Everyone's talking about Iowa's Jack Campbell, and for good reason. 18 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and a forced fumble recovery. Sorry, not a forced fumble recovery. Jack Campbell is an NFL player, period. Malcolm Rodriguez, one of my favorites at Oklahoma State. Once again, wrestler. Always give wrestlers sort of an extra little bit of love, but he's the key to that defense. He runs that defense. 7 tackles, a fumble recovery, had a scoop and score, a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hurries, and a partridge in a pear tree. Couple more guys. This is a good week for defense, or was a good week for defense. Karen Reed of Utah, once again, had 15 tackles and a sack. And last but certainly not least, Bennett Williams, safety at Oregon State, had 2 interceptions, 8 tackles, and one of those interceptions was a pick six. So do what you want to us, rules makers. Defenders will still continue to make plays. Those are my Week 4 Saturday Superlatives.